Let's catch up on all my current projects and recently finished projects as well. Welcome back to my knitting channel. My name is Nadine and you can find me at yourknittingbestie on Instagram, Ravelry and here on YouTube. On this channel you can expect to find me talking about my love of knitting and what it's like to be a knitter in sunny Brisbane. Quite sunny today, the weather is really warming up. So there's quite a bit to talk about because I have been on a bit of a hiatus, as I mentioned in my last video. And before we jump into the projects, I did just want to quickly say thank you so much for your lovely comments on my first video back, the last one, and for your congratulations on all of the news that's happened, including baby and the wedding. I've managed to put on my rings, so I'm getting better at this whole thing. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'm so happy to be back. So I think today we'll have a chat about, I should probably start with the finished object, and then I'll talk about my current WIPs, some acquisitions, very limited, and then a couple gifts that I've received from my grandma and from one other person. So the first finished object I no longer have, but I'll put up some footage of me holding it up quickly before I gave it away, which was the baby blanket that I knit for two of my good friends. And actually they were just here before I started filming with their newborn. And he's very, very cute. They are having some trouble, I think, because he is not overly fond of sleeping. I hear that's a common problem and one that I look forward to experiencing myself. But anyway, yeah, they were just here and they really loved how the blanket turned out. They liked the feeling of the blanket, they liked the color, they liked the pattern, and they said that they're getting lots of comments because they're using it as their pram blanket or their stroller blanket, which was what I had in mind. So I am absolutely stoked that they like that finished object, because I was finishing it off when I was in that first trimester, early second trimester, when I just had that horrible nausea and almost an aversion to knitting. And then when I got super sick. So it was a bit of a struggle to get that blanket finished, but I'm so glad that I was able to get it done before the baby was born even though it was like only by a week or two. But it still counts. So that was a quick summary. I think that's actually the only FO I have to show you, which I think is saying something about my knitting over the last couple of months. Anyway, on to my current WIPs then. So the first one is what I'm very excited about. I'm starting off with the first and only proper garment that I have on the needles, which is the Ranunculus that I started making when I had COVID. And then I continued working on it when I was unwell with the various other things that I had going on. But I'm really, really pleased with how it's turning out. I actually really like the color. It's I think a complementary color for my coloring. And I am so stoked because the math that I did to try and convert the Ranunculus into a fingering weight gauge on, I think, oh gosh, what needles did I use? I hope I wrote that down somewhere because I took them out. I think it was 4mm needles. I'm sure I would have said that in my last video when I talked about this sweater. So maybe I'll double check that video. Anyway, I did some math when I was unwell and I hadn't swatched and I hadn't done any of that sort of stuff, and I was just kind of winging it to try and get it to fit properly. And I was a little concerned because the collar was looking so small. It still is a snug fit, I have to admit. And I was worried about the arms, and in particular where it joins under the arms. I was worried about that just being a bit too tight and scrunching up maybe, just not fitting properly. So I ended up, to make sure that I could get a proper fit, I went through and did both sleeves so that you could properly see how the cast on and everything at the armpit went. And then I tried it on pre-block. I did a mid-project block and it was fitting okay pre-block, but not perfectly. But I did know that it would relax a bit, of course, when it was blocked. So then I did block it and it fits really, really well now. I can't believe that the math that I did when I was delirious actually turned out okay. I'm very proud of myself actually, because it was difficult. I remember I was doing it and I was like, oh, maybe we might be able to make this work. But yeah, so I think it's going really well. And I'm at a bit of a stopping point because I finished the last bowl. So after I did both sleeves, I went and used the rest of the bowl that I had to just keep working on the body. And so I'll put up a photo or a little video of me trying it on so that you can see where it's kind of hitting now. Because I am at a crossroads now for this project. I have to try and figure out how to finish the body. And when I cast this on, I think it might have even been the same week that I published my video on the Ranunculus. Casey from Young Folk Knits posted a video on modifications to Ranunculi, the Ranunculus pattern. And of course I watched it because I love her videos and the Ranunculus pattern. And she suggested that you could do a really deep split hem at the side. So for me, I've got, and then you could have an I-cord on either side so it just kind of sits nicely and kind of rolls into itself. And I really like that idea because, where's my side here? I've got this cable going, right? So it's a 6-stitch cable, kind of 3 stitches in each leg. How can I show you this? So I could convert each leg of the cable into the I-cord, which I think would look really cool if you did it right after you'd kind of twisted the cable and then it split off into the different edges of the garment. And then maybe if you started the twisted rib and had a really deep twisted rib section at the bottom. And you could, if you wanted to, even do a bit of a staggered hem. What do you call them? Not a split hem, like an asymmetrical hem where the front is a little bit shorter than the back. That could be really cute as well. So that's one option. The other option is to just keep knitting it as it is with the cable at the bottom. And maybe you could do that idea where you split and have the split hem just towards the very bottom where you would usually see a split hem. So I'm looking for opinions. I'd love your view on which kind of way to finish the garment. The third option, actually, there is a third option. The third option would be just to start a little section of twisted rib now and just leave it at this cropped size, because I know a lot of people use the cropped size over dresses and things like that, which could be really nice. And the added factor to consider is the rapidly growing belly. So there's a bit happening in the midsection space. So that was something that drew me to this pattern, because I thought I could put that really deep split in and then it would kind of expand with me. Although I could just do a stretchy bind off at the bottom as well, and maybe it would be fine. Or I could have that crop section and then of course it wouldn't have to go over the belly. So that's where I'm at now. I do have a fair bit of the yarn left. I'm using a very posh project bag. I bought some maternity tights and they came in this, this bag. So I'm reusing it as a project bag. But anyway, I have 1 and a bit bowls left. So probably a little bit under 100 grams left. So I think I have enough to do any of the options that I just mentioned, but I'm just a bit stuck on which one to do. So yeah, I'd love your views on which way to finish it you think would be best. I also wonder, like, we are heading into the very hot season here, so how much use I'll get out of it. I was hoping to have it finished earlier, but that is not the way. But yes, really, really love it. In particular, stoked with the length of the sleeves. They're kind of hitting actually similar to this top, which is my kind of preferred length for sleeves. I don't like the ones that are too short. So I was a little bit worried with making this too long, but I really like it. I think it came out at the perfect length. And gosh, I wish I had taken better notes when I was sick and casting this on, because I could so see myself making this again. Actually, the one thing I would do differently, and I thought this immediately, is so the neckline, immediately, I think you cast on, I don't know, let's say for example 60 stitches, and then immediately after you do the twisted rib you increase to say 90 stitches. I can't quite remember if that's right. But so some people just immediately cast on for the 90, the bigger amount of stitches. And if you were doing a fingering weight version of this ranunculus, I think I would very much recommend that you jump ahead to that larger amount of stitches when you first cast on to have a bit of a looser neckline. So I'll definitely do that if I do another one of these, which seems fairly likely, to be honest. I really see how people get addicted to knitting these ranunculus sweaters. Okay, anyway, I'm really looking forward to hearing your views on how to finish that one, because I can't wait to wear it. And I've got, I still have some time in the office, because you know how I started out this channel and I talked about how I like knitting and why I like knitting and how I can get away with it in such a hot climate. And a lot of it was to do with the fact that I work in air conditioning. But if I'm going on parental leave, like of course we have air conditioning at home, but we like to, like we don't run it all the time because it's very expensive. So maybe I'll have to go to the shops or the movie or something to get some good use out of my knitted garments during my parental leave. Oh gosh, a little bit out of breath. I hear that happens in the pointy end of pregnancy. Okay, moving along. Oh, I did this and I completely forgot that I have another finished object. Okay, just pretend that I'm mentioning this one directly after the blanket. And this is actually, it's in another bag from the same place. I bought some black shorts as well. So I have another friend. This seems to come in waves, doesn't it? All of my friends are having babies right now. It's actually fantastic. We joke that there's kind of like a baby happening every month for like the second half of this year. They're just all over the place, which is awesome because of course they'll grow up together, which is very exciting, and we'll have some friends to hang out with who are going through the same life stage as us. Anyway, one of them is having a baby shower next weekend, so just after this video will go live, and I thought I could make them a little hat as my baby shower present, because even though it's hot here, they say you should still pack one when you go to the hospital, and I wanted to practice using the pattern, so that, because of course I'll make one for my baby as well. And I ended up using some leftovers of my sock yarn, because I have just bits and bobs around the place. I can't believe how cute this is. This just like breaks my brain, how small this little hat is. So this is made in leftovers of, oh, what is it? The Fibrospates Vivacious 4-ply. And I've forgotten the colours, but I will pop them on screen if I can find them. I should, because I think I recorded this yarn in my stash on Ravelry. But so this was really fun to make. This was super quick. I did this this week. I cast it on last weekend and it's finished. It was finished by Friday, which is awesome. So you can kind of I'll undo the ribbing so you can see how big it is, because the ribbing was actually a lot of the project. And I was knitting the ribbing and I was thinking, oh, is this a little bit too much ribbing? Because it seems like, yeah, it would be mostly ribbing. But no, once you flip it up, I think that's a good amount. And then it means maybe that as the baby grows, she can unroll that and get a little bit more wear out of it. So I don't remember the pattern right now, but I will pop it on screen. And I thought it was a good little pattern. Just a very straightforward one, but nice and relaxing. Although I did, oh, that's right, I had to do a test at the doctor's office and I was there for 2 hours and I finished, well, I nearly finished actually, the hat section, like not the ribbing, the rest of the hat, while I was there. But I guess I was a little bit distracted, or perhaps actually a bit of baby brain. I didn't realize that that was such a thing, but I have never felt more absent-minded in my whole life. And it is infinitely frustrating because I cannot tell you how type A I am. So not having kind of instant recall of things is driving me bonkers. But anyway, I started off the pattern and I looked at the pattern to see how they did the decreases. And I saw that it was kind of 1 row decreases and then 2 rows plain and then the next row of decreases. And I was like, oh, great. And then not thinking and not having read the pattern properly, I just did that for all of the decreases. And it was getting pretty long, like the hat was getting pretty long. The rate of increases just seemed too slow. And I did take a picture, so I'll put a picture on screen so you can see how it just wasn't quite looking like the right shape. So I read the pattern, novel approach, and realised that I had done it wrong because it was only the first 2 rounds of decreases that it had 2 rows in between. Otherwise, it was just 1 row decrease, next row plain, then the next row of decrease, which of course leads to this more steep decrease and the cute shape around here. So I was a bit tempted to just leave it because I thought if it was a little bit longer on top, that would be fine. And maybe they could even just roll this up further. That didn't look too good. But I ended up, again, type A, I ended up ripping back and doing it correctly. But I am glad I did. I think that was the right move to make. And also, I was playing yarn chicken in a big way. So, how much do I have left? So the light pink was the issue. And that's how much I have left. So it was good to rip back because by saving that extra round, I had enough yarn to finish. So very happy with that. And also, this is the actual project bag that I used. It was so cute. I went to Sydney in the last week for a work thing, and this was my little project that I had on the plane. And it was great because it didn't take up any space in my purse. And it was just a very fun, quick knit. So anyway, loved it. Keen to make mine. And I actually really like these colours too. And that's how you can tell it's a good present, right? When you kind of want to keep it yourself. So I know that this is a good one for this baby and her mum. Okay, enough about that. Onwards and upwards. So this one we can mention very quickly. Oh gosh, I've already been talking for 20 minutes. Oh, wrong bag. So very, very quickly, I mentioned in the last video that I had misplaced my engagement socks. I have found it. And I knew I would because our house was just in chaos. But it is mostly in order now. After a couple of big days and nights, back in order. So I found this one, and that gave me a bump of energy to get going on finishing the other sock. So I have finished the leg, I've turned the heel, and now I'm just on the foot. So there's a little bit to go, but not a lot. So I'm quite happy with that. And I'm just kind of knitting away at it, again, in like the doctor's office or on my lunch break at work, things like that. So that should be done soon. Okay, so that is the end of my current projects. I'll quickly show you one other thing, which is this cute little bit of pottery. Not knitting, please excuse me, I'll be 30 seconds. But this is special and I wanted to show you because I actually made this with one of my very good friends the day I found out I was pregnant. So it's quite special to me. And I don't know, maybe I'll use it for my little stitch markers and things like that. Because yeah, I'm very attached to it. And it was fun, so I got the ceramic piece pre-made, and then the class that we went to was just for painting. So I really like how this turned out. I think it's cute. It's not perfect, but that's why I love it. So now I'll quickly show you the very limited acquisitions that I've made or bought in the last couple months. And it's just one order from Bendigo Woollen Mills. So I put in an order specifically to get this special edition yarn, which I think I've got the tag here. So I got 2 bowls of this yarn, and it's because it's one that you don't see very often. So this is the 8-ply Dolce, I think that's how you say it, in the colour Poppy, and it's 50% wool, 50% bamboo. So, and it's on, the gauge is 4mm needles, 22 stitches to 10 centimeters, approximately 400 meters, and they're each 200 grams. So quite a good amount of yarn. And I just knew that this would sell out super quickly, so I had to have it. Even though I wasn't even knitting at the time, and the thought of knitting made me a little bit nauseous, I still had to have it. I knew I would come around eventually. So I really like the feel. I like that it's got the bamboo and the wool in it. I'm hoping that that'll make a bit of a combination where you get some slip and shine from the bamboo, but the grit and the durability of the wool. I really like the colour. Tentatively, baby blanket for baby girl. It's a nice colour. I know that pink might be a bit much for my baby girl because I like pink, but I can't resist. I'll make her some stuff in other colours as well. But my initial impression is that it seems to have a bit of a fluffy halo on it. Maybe I'll take a picture. I'm not sure the camera's picking that up well with the glare. So I'll put a picture up. But it does look to be a little fuzzy, but overall it's very soft. And yeah, I love the colour. So I'm very excited about that. And while I was there, I bought one other ball of yarn, which is for my father-in-law's pair of Christmas socks, which I make him every year. And I haven't tried the sock yarn actually from Bendigo Woollen Mills, but this is the one I got. So it's another multicoloured sock yarn because this yarn got me addicted to colour changes without changing the yarn, which seems just too great, too good to give up. So this is just their multicoloured sock yarn, 100 grams, approximately 400 meters. And you can machine wash these, which is really good because my father-in-law does tend to wash the socks that I make him, which I found out because I made him a pair in this yarn and it is holding up spectacularly well. So when I kind of compare the two, this one does feel a bit more rustic and a bit more gritty, which I think means it holds up well. So I'm interested to see how this one goes. What's the composition? 70% wool, 30% nylon. And the colour is Capri Holiday. which is nice actually. So yeah, I think that'll probably be my next sock project, because I dare say there's not actually that much time between now and Christmas. This is the only gift I'm going to knit this year. I have to admit, other priorities. And I think if I don't knit this soon, it might not happen, because I might get a bit carried away with preparing other things. So onwards then to gifts. And the first one I'm super excited about, because when I got married, my dad and my grandma came over from Canada, which was super nice of them because I gave them like 2 seconds notice for the wedding, since we organised it inside a month. But they both managed to make it happen, which was frankly incredible. And so Grandma came over, and she is a knitter and a crocheter, just like me, or perhaps I'm just like her. And she and her knitting group make little toys for babies in the NICU. And it's so that they have something to grasp onto and they don't, I think, scratch their face. I think that's the reason for it. But so she made one for my little baby. Isn't it cute? So yeah, I guess they just kind of grab on with their tiny little hands into the octopus legs. And I think she's just so sweet, and I love her very much. And I can't wait to give her to my little baby girl. So this one is, it feels like maybe a cotton that she used. Just a bit of fluff inside the head. And it is a crochet project. So lovely. And she also gave me a couple patterns, which look really good for baby. So I'll quickly share Grandma's wisdom with you. So the first one is, it's from Yarnspirations, and I have knit a few of their patterns actually, because when I first got started, I was pretty set on just knitting free patterns. I've since been converted. But this one is the Knit Buddy Bears knit. And she's got the printout here for me. So I'll put a better picture up. Well, maybe if I do that, you'll be able to see. So that looks really cute. I really like the look of that, because I did say that I wanted to maybe knit a toy. And then she's given me a couple printout hat patterns for baby. So there's a crochet cap and a knit cap from redheart.com. I'll see if I can find these to link below. And then this one is the basic baby beanie. I'm not sure where this one is from. But it's fantastic that she thought of me and printed out some patterns for me, which I'm very happy to use. And then the final thing that I'll mention is a pattern that I was gifted. And I was so touched to receive this from the maker of this pattern. I'll put a picture up on screen. They are absolutely beautiful. And I'd actually seen this pattern on the, what do you call it, the hot page on Ravelry, which I occasionally just scroll through the top patterns at any given day. I actually do it as part of my going to sleep routine. And I had seen these socks in that lineup. And I was like, wow, they are just gorgeous, because they're colorwork socks, a beautiful pattern, but quite advanced perhaps. So I immediately was like, oh, I don't know if I could do those, since I'm stuck on kind of the self-changing colors as opposed to doing a colorwork sock. I haven't tried that yet. But I thought they looked absolutely beautiful. And then eventually I got around to looking at my messages, and I saw that she had sent me the pattern. So I was so touched, and I'm so thankful. And I wanted to mention it to you because, yeah, they're just lovely. Yeah, so it's doing well. She's got 45 projects already. So it's €4, or about $6.90 for the sock pattern. And she's suggested Filcolana Arwetta. I hope that's how you say that. I think so. Or a couple others. But the yarn weight is just fingering or 4-ply, 32 stitch gauge on 2.5mm needles. The description is in French, so I'm afraid that I can't read that for you. But the pattern is available in English. So that is the one that she had gifted me. And it is just lovely. So thank you very much to Lysandra. I hope that's how you say your name. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm very grateful, and I'm excited to challenge myself to try those colourwork socks. Okay, so that is, if I'm not forgetting everything. You have been caught up on all of my projects, and I'm most excited to finish this sock because it feels like it's been just around for too long. And very excited to hear your views on how I should finish the top that I'm knitting, the Ranunculus. So yeah, thank you again for all of your comments on my last video. Thank you for watching this video if you've got through to the end. And I am just looking forward to seeing you in the next one. I have a couple topics lined up, which I'm excited to share with you. So thank you again for watching. If you liked the video, it would be fantastic if you would give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, it would be amazing if you would consider subscribing so that you can catch my next videos. So thanks again, guys. I hope you've had a good week, and I will see you in the next one.